This track is literally the craziest, most insane thing, and I've spent a ridiculous amount of time putting it together, and now I'm going to try and condense all of that crazy creativity into a little 5-10 minute video to break down the coolest aspects of this wild track. If you don't know what I'm on about and you're new to this channel, hi, nice to meet you, I'm Kobe, and I just released my new track, Perfect Storm. It certainly was a storm. It's literally 2 years since I first came up with the idea. Why do I say it's the craziest or most adventurous track? Well, a few reasons. Firstly, look at the project. This thing is huge. There is so much going on, and there's so much detail in the whole thing. But also, look at the number of exports. It just keeps going. And I don't even know if I want to be proud of that number of exports. Like, I definitely would not recommend it. It happened over such a long period of time. And a lot happened between then. I even actually put this track off. I put it into a relegated bin and I was like, nah, this just isn't working. I don't know what to do with it. But I'm so happy that I've managed to finish it and I've shared it now. But look at this. There were 42 exports. And there were 9 different masters. It's insane. So let's tell this crazy adventurous tale. Literally, idea 1 right here was just some guitar, some drums, and I think some bass. Which I loved. I thought that was really cool, and there was definitely potential in that. I then actually pitched it up because I felt like I couldn't get the bass to work quite right. And then here was where I put the first vocal ideas onto. Thinking what if you're headed to a perfect storm and don't tell me that you ain't been warm. I kept recording and exporting until I got an initial master. Pain of repeating fear, thinking what if you're headed to a perfect storm and don't tell me that you ain't been warned. Fear rising up, wait a minute, hesitate. Oh no, fuck it, do it anyway. I actually think I made a video about that master that was there and I released it, so you can see that video. There's a bit of a breakdown there. But then I worked on so many other things, I wasn't sure what to do with it, so I just put it in a folder and I was like, I'll come back to it.
2,000 years later.
On the 30th of May 2022, I then came back to it. Then it was like, this is a case of it's going to get worse before it gets better, because what I concluded from this initial version here was that I thought it was just slightly too slow, especially in the drop. And I felt like I wanted it to be bigger, like just more impactful, more orchestral, because the concept was like a perfect storm, and I wanted it to feel like that. So I wasn't sure how to do that, but I thought I want to make the bass more distorted and I want to make it overall more expressive. Also, of course, I only had like a first verse and a chorus. I had nothing else, whereas I then added in a second verse. And you can hear the strings that I've started to add in. And then I added in like a bridge breakdown section here. It was now a full structure. It had all of the lyrics required and it had the chord progressions and everything that it needed. Now I just had to record final vocals and add in all these other elements and then mix it. And there was where the challenge arrived. I couldn't even decide if I liked it because I'd heard it so many times and I'd been working on so many other things, I just wasn't sure. So that's when I started adding in some darker synths, which was going well. Thinking what if you're headed to a perfect storm. See, here's where I started adding in like the trumpets and a little bit more of the orchestral things and started trying to improve the mix. All the while I was adding in other vocal pads, finishing out other lyrics through the other second half. It's strange because this song is about overcoming fear and it's about doing the thing even if you're scared to do it, and yet this whole thing is like a representation of me like being scared to finish the song because I wasn't sure whether it was good enough. But the most important thing is that I finished the song, I released it, and I'm really happy with it. I could spend ages analyzing all the different versions and going, maybe that version was better, and I'm like, no. Stop it. Just trust the initial intuition that I had, which was this is a cool idea, and just run with it, aka fuck it, do it anyway. Man, it was a proper marathon, and I hope I never have to do this many exports of any track ever again. I learned a lot during that process. As you can see, here is the rest of the actual project. This is what the final thing looks like. I'll give you a quick lowdown of what changed from the previous video. Obviously, I had all of my drums. Not too much changed there, but I wanted to add in some higher elements just to try and give some more energy in the high end. Some stones breaking, some clocks to add more movement. Then in the bass, not too much changed from last time, except I added more distortion. And I made the distortion come up in the choruses and then down in the verses because it was a little bit too aggressive in the verses. But if I take the distortion off, it's a much cleaner tone, which is what I had in the original, but it felt too clean. This is where most of the changes happened in the instruments. One of the most significant synths that I added in was this analog pulse. Whoa, a big helicopter. That is crazy. I wanted this analog pulse to create this sort of feeling of like in Queen, where it's the show must go on. It's got that like dum 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 dum. That's just like telling this dramatic story. I used the low pass filter to open and close that sound to tell the story. I also had this bit glitch sound that I added to make it was all just geared towards creating more atmosphere and more energy. Then also significantly I added these brass stabs. So the instrumental was getting pretty wild already. I also wanted to add in, like I said, some cinematic feel with the strings. Loads of cool things to try and make it really expressive, and then added in new vocal layers, vocal pads, harmonies, and ad-libs.
Thunder as the lightning strikes, I fly on. Fear rising up, wait a minute, hesitate. Oh no, no, fuck it, do it anyway. You're headed to a perfect storm, and no, don't tell me that you ain't been warned. Fear rising up, wait a minute, hesitate. Oh no, no, fuck it, do it anyway. Anyway, gotta let it rain, fighting even if I'm torn. Sky blowing up, damn it, I'll prostrate. Oh no, no, fuck it, do it anyway.
It's so much fun. Like, the more music I create, the more music I want to create. That's one thing I would say for sure. Like, you guys often message me on Instagram saying like, do you have any advice for beginners? And like, I don't know how to start making something good. And I'm like, just start making things and keep making things until you completely fall in love with making things. I don't think the passion for this kind of thing is something you're just born with, maybe, but a lot of the times it's actually something that you develop. You just keep showing up, and the more you do, the more you're like, actually this is getting good, and then you keep going. And yeah, it's amazing. It's such a cool thing to be able to do. And like I say, the whole purpose of the track is literally about recognizing the things that you know you want to do in your life, that you know would be meaningful to you, and then recognizing the fear that you have about doing those things, and then, despite the fear being there, doing it anyway. There's a book I've been reading at the moment, and I've been kind of annotating and analyzing it, called Courage by Osho, and it speaks to a lot of what's in the song. Like, it's not about being fearless and just removing fear altogether, it's about having the courage to act in spite of fear. Speaking of being scared, the artwork that I put together, I actually went to the sea myself. I didn't use AI or anything like that this time. I actually tried to clamber over this really precarious rock, and almost me and my camera fell in the sea. And this was the first photo that I took, which just looked awful. So I tried to relocate, find a better position. I moved about, I don't know how many times trying to get the right photo, then took it back and went crazy in Photoshop, and this was the final result. So yeah, I really hope you guys love this track. If you haven't yet, go onto the Perfect Storm video and just comment as many lightning strikes as you can. If there is something that you've been scared to do, but you know you really want to, listen to this song and then fucking do it anyway. I want to start creating some cool Instagram, TikTok videos based around this content. And of course, I'll be posting more videos here on YouTube, and I will see you in those up and coming videos. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss them. And of course, believe in yourself and you will be unstoppable. Bye.
Fear rising up, wait a minute, hesitate. Oh no, no, fucking do it anyway. Your attitude, perfect storm. No, don't tell me that you ain't been wrong. Fear rising up, wait a minute, hesitate. Oh no, no,